Welcome and thanks for joining us for this episode of Scope. Residents of Portion 2733 in Port Moresby were faced with a humanitarian crisis last month after a court order forced them out of their homeless. The owner of the piece of land is Sixth Estate Limited. On the floor of Parliament, Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso, in his capacity as Lands and Physical Planning Minister, said the 60-hectare property was acquired in 2011 and has gone under numerous court battles until the Supreme Court ordered squatters to vacate the property. After the eviction exercise, the residents were left homeless, fighting for basic human rights, shelter, and security.
The squatters at Portion 2733 at Alotau 1, bordering Gerehu Stage 3B and the University of Papua New Guinea, were evicted by police on the 12th of October. The eviction exercise comes following a court order obtained by owner of the 60-hectare property, Sixth Estate. Residents were left in surprise, chasing excavators and police to collect remains of their properties bulldozed to the ground. The squatters badly needed the government to step in.
All this low population, about 11,000 plus, only sleep without shelter. Mosquito kege mol. Rain put down aste, wasimol. No got kege, no got shelter. Mipla big bla bagra mipla stable. It's about 12 days ago. Na mipla no looking. All local members bla mipla, government bla mipla, all responsible line. While is supposed to protect him interest. Na welfare bla online. Only no come there. Only when you can think, no only stop isolate. Parliament stop close to lab. One step. Stop close to but only no come shaking me blow. And suffer for the last 12 days.
Mothers and children are faced with a humanitarian crisis, calling on the government to intervene.
Prime Minister James Marabe, Mibla no outcast. You take note, please. Mibla 11,000 plus. Mibla mama na pigini Mibla cry. Mibla cry. Mibla banana go back la place. Mibla go la place and trouble fight here. Trouble fight la place. No got them good education Mibla but him. Some have road them remote area. No got education. Savi am no go kurgutim la place kanaga. Some have them. No got some power line them go. No got service, no got road.
Attempts by Governor Powes Pakop earlier in the week to stop the eviction exercise was unsuccessful. Governor Pakop said it was his aim to transform the settlement under the Settlement to Suburb program and was equally disappointed by the manner in which the residents were evicted. Despite some resistance from residents, NCD Central Commander ACP Anthony Wagambi Jr. said police were only following court orders. He said he fully understands the sensitivity in this matter, especially dealing with people's lives. However, he will be held in contempt of court if he does not enforce. On the floor of Parliament, Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso, in his capacity as Lands and Physical Planning Minister, said the 60-hectare property was acquired in 2011 under a different government. He said the land has gone under numerous court battles until the Supreme Court ordered the squatters to vacate the property.
The one especially at Morata was taken out, that land was granted in 2011. In Alotau, long time through. Time Supreme Court order. Honorable Governor Pakop, na mipla been trying to work one time, lo try setting aside this la. But in 2017, before I became the lands minister, 2017 too, all lands department trying to involve this law. Now all been also some restraining order against law lands department. So this lands department restraining order is stopped, so they cannot act on either forfeiture or handling this ground.
30 minutes drive away from portion 2733 is the Tiaba Abattoir at 12 Mile outside the city.
Illegal settlers. Mibla Rosim Mibla Ino Yetason, Mibla Barosim all the station long country. This land pace long country, this land city block country, so Mibla start lawyer. So all gada. Also man looking at TV too. All by Samuel Sam, this last start lawyer, so all must already law. All two must start pick up.
The PNG Livestock Development also carried out a similar eviction exercise to reclaim land and develop for livestock purposes. Managing Director Terry Coim was on the ground with enforcers. He said the department is taking action to evict illegal settlers to reclaim state properties, adding similar eviction exercises will be carried out around the country.
Some of the settlers have had some arguments with the employees, so I'm here to give confidence to my staff. At the same time, to inform the settlers that they need to move out. I don't need a court order to tell them to go home. This is not a new land. LDC has been operating on this Tiaba property for a very long time. So if you are living on this property after LDC has run down because of financial or other related issues, then you have no excuse to continue to live on these premises after you have been served a lot of eviction notices, warnings since 2019.
When we come back, cruise tourism returns after 2 years of COVID uncertainties. Cruise tourism in Papua New Guinea was once a thriving key factor to the country's economy, and when the pandemic hit hard in 2019, a lockdown ceased all operations, putting a dark cloud over the tourism industry for almost 2 years. This month of October, Tourism Promotion Authority CEO Eric Uvovo and Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture Isi Henry Leonard, backed with the support of Deputy Controller Dr. Asarom Downey, announced the reopening of cruise tourism in the country. Mr. Uvovo said that the cruise tourism sector before COVID-19 contributed $20 million. That's approximately 70.4 million kina to the economy. Following the loosening of travel restrictions in PNG for commercial vessels, one of TPA's main agenda items for the year was cruise tourism.
Prior to the onset of COVID-19, global cruise tourism was one of the strongest tourism sectors, registering a growth rate of 5.4% since 2009, with 30 million people expected to cruise globally in 2019. PNG Tourism Promotion Authority developed the PNG Cruise Strategy in 2009 that laid out the foundation of what would become an evolution of the PNG cruise sector. PNG had always enjoyed the arrival of small expedition cruises. Itineraries included island or upriver visits with shore excursions. In 2014, PNG saw the inaugural visit of the Carnival Australia P&O cruise line Pacific Dawn, dock in Alotau, Milne Bay, and then sail into Rabaul. The entry of large-capacity passenger ships is attributed to the strong cross-sectoral engagement between government agencies, PNG Ports, NMSA, PNG ICSA, Nakia, PNG Customs, and PNG TPA. Since then, PNG cruise numbers have increased significantly, from 4,000 in 2007 to 19,123 cruise arrivals in 2016. In 2019, PNG recorded its highest cruise arrivals with 51,417 cruise visitors, experienced Milne Bay, East New Britain, East Sepik, Moresby, West New Britain, Arab, Ora Province and NCD. Milne Bay Province is the most visited province in the country, outside of Port Moresby. In 2018, the province registered 34,961 international visitors, 33,616 of which were cruise visitors. In an economic impact study by the Asia-Pacific Economic Corporation, it showed that 60% of MSMEs actively engaged in tourism to generate most of their revenue from cruise tourism activities, whilst 68% of respondents noted that employment opportunities increased significantly to service cruise tourism in the province. PNG TPA Chief Executive Officer Eric Uvovo says that cruise tourism as we know it today can be traced back to the beginning of the 1960s, coinciding with the decline of transoceanic ship travel and introduction of the first non-stop air travel between USA and Europe. This, he said, is according to its history. However, PNG Cruise Tourism is an essential part of TPA's tourism program, where visitors from all over the world can come and cruise around the beautiful islands and enjoy the breathtaking scenery.
It has been a big drought since 2019 when COVID pandemic hit our shores, and we've never seen the cruise tourism industry basically went dead. But now the announcement of the cruise tourism industry has reinvigorated some life into the tourism industry, and especially in outer islands and areas where the cruise ships will visit. So thank you to the government agencies and the Controller's Office and Department of Health and all the stakeholders involved. We look forward for the maximum benefit of the cruise tourism industry in Papua New Guinea.
On August 4th, 2022, the controller published new measures calling for the ports to be opened, which will now enable commercial ships, commerce and, most crucially, cruise ships to enter the nation, according to Deputy Controller National Pandemic Response, Dr. Downey Esaram.
Just for your information, we are still in the pandemic phase, but since you are aware, a lot of countries are opening up. Not only that, a lot of countries within PNG is also fatigued. We've been at this for the last 2.5 years. And I know our people are looking forward to living with COVID, but most importantly, living a normal life.
On 7th October, P&O cruise ship Pacific Encounter entered the shores of Alotau in the Milne Bay province, and its majestic arrival captured the locals in awe of its beauty. Tourists boarded the cruise ship from Brisbane, Australia and journeyed to PNG. Minister Leonard and Deputy Governor of Milne Bay Province, Lelena Metau, were part of the welcoming party. They exchanged gifts with the captain of the Pacific Encounter, Roger Bilton.
To Alaska, I've been to the Caribbean, I've been to everywhere. But here in Papua New Guinea, whether you know it or not, you have some of the most beautiful islands and destinations in the world, and you need to take full advantage of that. That's absolutely.
Cruise ship tourism is important for PNG in the sense that tourists will embark in Australia and then they will travel here, like the Pacific Encounter, which embarked in Brisbane and then travelled to its first port in Alotau, and in the evening sailed off to Kiriwina, disembarking at Kaibola, enjoying what Kiriwina could offer in culture, artifacts, even song and dance. After Kiriwina, they then travelled to Rabaul. Minister Leonard expressed that having cruise tourism reopened was important as it brought in opportunities to scale up tourism and help the people.
Papua New Guinea is one of the last frontiers in the world where cruise ships have not even visited. In areas in the Pacific like the Tahiti, Samoa, Vanuatu, and even New Caledonia, they have been overly explored already by the cruise ship tours.
And we are one of the last frontiers that we can now provide alternative routes for the cruise ship.
P&O is now concentrating into PNG by building a cruise ship terminal in Brisbane at a cost of 800 million Australian dollars, because they see that there is a close proximity from PNG to Brisbane, Australia. PNG is also the most ideal location for them to visit in terms of proximity.
So we as a government should now understand what they're doing, and we should now identify certain ports. We should now start investing in ports, infrastructure development, and even jetties in certain areas of the country. Some remote islands we need to provide jetty facilities for the cruise ship to use when they're cruising within that area.
Minister Leonard said tourism is about everyone because it is an inclusive program, as it will engage the youths, children, the elderly and any other common folk in the community will be engaged. Tourists filled the SME market grounds where the locals welcomed their visitors in an array of traditional dance, attire and various arts and crafts to hopefully claim money that jingled or that of which folded.
Now you're dealing with a flexible man with flexible price. We can...
These lovely lasses expressed utter delight in returning to visit our shores after 34 years.
We have so enjoyed the trip and being here back in New Guinea after 34 years. So it's just been lovely. So we're very happy to be here. We lived in Rabaul we went in 1988 and stayed till 1990. And my husband was in charge of the roads and bridges and hospitals. And we had a lovely time. 3 years. We so enjoyed living in Rabaul. It was beautiful. So nice.
After the break, Digicel Cup celebrating 12 years of successful competition. After another grueling 22 weeks of PNG's premier National Rugby League competition, the Digicel Cup this season concluded with an epic grand finale that saw Croton Hela Wigmen crowned as the Digicel Cup champions for 2022 after defeating their strong rival from East New Britain, Egmak Rabaul Gurias, through a penalty shot 8-6. Prelude to the Digicel Cup Grand Final decider on Saturday, September the 25th, 2022, was the annual Digicel Cup Awards Night held on Thursday, September 22 at the Lambana Club, Port Moresby. Host and PNG National Rugby League competition naming rights sponsor, Digicel, uses this special occasion to recognize and reward teams and individuals for their outstanding performances throughout the regular footy season. This year's Digicel Cup Awards Night was held at the Lamana Club Port Moresby and attended by major sponsors, corporate partners, staff of PNG RFL and PNG NRL, players, team, officials and the media.
Since 2011, Digicel has become synonymous with PNG's National Rugby League competition, affectionately known as the Digicel Cup. The annual Digicel Cup Awards Night, which is usually held before the Grand Final weekend, is always a special night for everyone, teams and individuals who are recognized and rewarded for their outstanding performances and commitments to the game throughout the season. The list of awards include Rookie of the Year, Top Try Scorer of the Year, Top Point Scorer of the Year, and Player of the Year among the Team of the Year. This year's awards night was held at Lamana, attended by major sponsors, corporate partners, staff, and the executive of PNG RFL, PNG NRLC, players, team officials, invited guests, and the media. Included in this year's awards list were Rookie of the Year, Top Point Scorer of the Year, Top Try Scorer, Player of the Year, Team of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Best Team of the Year. In his welcoming address, PNG NRLC Board Chairman Adrian Chow again commended naming rights sponsor Digicel for their continued support and commitment to the National Rugby League competition, the Digicel Cup, over the past 12 years. Chow also acknowledged other platinum sponsors, including SP Brewery, who have been there since day one. The chairman was proud to note that the Digicel Cup has continued to unite and bring people together.
NRLC is developing a strategic plan to grow and develop our game. 4 pillars have been identified to ensure such growth is achievable and sustainable. Club professionalism, coaching and officiating, competition pathways, and competition management. It is essential to have the appropriate standards. So this plan will be rolled out in conjunction with PNG RFL's High Performance Plan.
Chairman Chow added rugby league has become a uniting factor for our people when the country is going through trying times, as seen during the pandemic crisis, whether it's the Digicel Cup, the PNG Hunters, the Orchids or the PNG Kumuls. Digicel Vice President Marketing and brainchild of the Digicel Cup sponsorship deal, Lorna McPherson, spoke passionately about how she's seen the enormous growth and progress of the game through Digicel brand and thanked PNG RFL and PNG NRLC for the long partnership and commitment to making sure our men and women realize their dreams in rugby league.
Digicel PNG as well. Over the years, we've funded over 20 million kina into the game over the past 11 years in both the Cup and also recently our signing of being a platinum sponsor for the Kumuls and for the Orchids. And just as a point, we split the money that we put into the national teams equally between the men and also the women, because we want to see the women's sport develop too. So, Mipla Hamamas, long-given sponsor, long Digicel Cup, low 2011. Come now because Mipla Loksavi, long impact, belong rugby, and that long community, not too long of future generation.
The Digicel Cup Awards night was so special and outstanding for some of our rising stars in the game who could not express themselves enough. For Central Dabari's flyer, Douglas Purica, scoring tries this year has become his trademark with 18 tries, making him the overall top try scorer for the year.
Bigla thank you all Central Dabari's all supporters. Atwag blogolem. Now mix him. One santin we also come na supporting me logan. And now mix him top try scorer 2022.
Top point scorer award went to rising Simbu star Joshua Mire. He accumulated most of the points from his goal-kicking prowess.
But what glory na big name ko begin antalo anu to it. When I talk me come lo precision kamusem come now season 2022 I met Saweso, I met reward me on the isla. When talk thank you.
For young Miok speedster Joel William, 2022 was a breakout season for him, scoring some freakish tries. He was voted Rookie of the Year.
Mi big pla belly button lumia mi puran anta again, mi big pla anta again. So plenty also talk mi turablo again also talk. Mi to live again also talk. So
Central Dabari's whiz kid Mora Mora Jr. was the most outstanding throughout 2022 and got a double scope. Fullback of the Year and Overall Player of the Year.
Because I'm the last person to defend, so I've concentrated and I didn't really get that right, but attacking wise I improved a lot and I'm happy.
Following the Digicel Cup Awards night, it was game on between Agma Krobal Gurias and Croton Hella Wigman. The big grand final showdown was controlled by visiting senior NRL referee Ben Cummins in front of a packed Santos National Football Stadium. Tagged as one of the best defensive grand final matchups of the decade that went beyond regulation time after both teams locked up at 6-all. In accordance with PNG RFL rules, the game continued into extra time in order to find an outright cup champion. This saw both teams digging deep for points until man of the match Tapia Solu slaughtered a successful penalty kick from right in front to break the deadlock and give Wigman their third premiership title in their short history. The successful end to the 2022 Digicel Cup Grand Final marks another milestone achievement for Digicel since jumping on board as naming rights sponsor of the country's premier rugby league competition in 2011. Despite numerous setbacks, the Digicel Cup has remained strong and resilient till today under current and past game administrators. Digicel CEO Colin Stone, who also spoke at the awards night, congratulated all the teams and players for a remarkable season. Stone said Digicel under Telstra would like to see the partnership continue with PNG RFL and PNG NRLC in the next 12 years.
So 12 years. As I said, we look forward to the next 12 years, and as Lorna mentioned, I think she stole a bit of my speech, but I won't blame her for that. Our partnership with Telstra is something that we're extremely proud of. Telstra being the naming rights sponsor for the NRL in Australia. And as Lorna mentioned, we're working on some things and we're hoping to sort of work with the PNGRL and other parties within the country to see what we can do to facilitate PNG's growth of the game through that Telstra involvement with the NRL in Australia.
And that ends Scope this evening, a kind reminder to apply the simple measures to prevent the transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water, cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Thank you for your company. Bye for now.